I'm Josh from Alter Ego Comics in Lima, Ohio, and I'm here for a very special episode of Alter Ego Comics TV. Marc is in Mexico, presumably for spring break or something, and that leaves you with just me to bring you a brief review of Batman v Superman, as well as an apology and the top 5 comics to check out after Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. All right, let's start it off with a brief spoiler light review of Batman v Superman. David Goyer, writer of Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, which you may remember for Nicolas Cage's Flaming Urine, as well as director Zack Snyder, who brought us Man of Steel and Watchmen and The Guardians of Ga'Hoole, which was about owls, basically remaking 300. He did 300 too. Yeah, that one was good. And starring Henry Cavill as Superman and Ben Affleck as Batman. They tried their best. They just didn't do very well this time, bless their souls. It's clear that they have a understanding, that's not true. It's clear that they have an affection for these characters. They clearly, especially specifically, the Death of Return of Superman and Dark Knight Returns have a familiarity with the source material. There are several shots in this that are basically directly from Dark Knight Returns or are inverted versions of what we saw in Dark Knight Returns. So that they have the grounding, and several of them are talented. Everyone involved in this has made something great. So I'm not really sure what the breakdown is. I feel almost like, when people talk about the commercialization of Christmas, about how a wider society is co-opting the event without necessarily understanding or appreciating the underlying values, the beliefs behind it. They take all of the movements without understanding any of the meaning, and that's exactly what Batman vs. Superman is. It's all of the cool parts of a Batman-Superman story without any of the reason or understanding or appreciation for the things that make a Superman-Batman story. And that is hard for me. I don't like it. One of our customers saw it the same showing I did, and he described it as epic but flawed, which is kinder than I'm prepared to be, but is not incorrect. I can't disagree with him on that. So maybe next time. Wonder Woman looks awesome. What we saw of Gal Gadot looks pretty cool, and hopefully we get a good movie out of that. And I'm also pretty amped for the Affleck-led, written, directed, starring Batman solo flick that promises to be quite cool. Affleck did a great job, actually. None of the problems with the movie were his fault. There are problems with Batman, but those are a product of the story and the plot, not of his performance or his choices. So everybody chill the heck out about Batman being Ben Affleck. That's fine. Maybe we should get the other stuff together. David Goyer, damn it. So that should be followed by a brief apology. Stories are the only thing that survive as a culture. There are very few things on this earth that are physical that are as old as the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the original pieces of literature of the human race, at least surviving. Whether it's telling stories around a campfire, drawing paintings on a wall, pen and ink, or the lie of light that is celluloid in a dark room. We love telling stories, and it's our duty to a certain degree to pass stories on to the next generation, to move on with myths and with legends, to bring a culture that means something. And clearly, if this Batman-Superman movie is what these qualified, competent artisans think is a good version of it, we have failed as a society. So I guess I'm sorry, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. We were the stewards of your legacy, and you deserve better in our hands. Keeping that in mind, let's move on to the top 5 stories that you can read after Batman Superman to make you believe in life again. To maybe wash the taste out of your mouth. I don't know. Maybe you enjoyed it. Maybe you want something that will go even higher. Then these are good for you too, because that's the thing about great stories, about great comics, is they're always great. It doesn't matter where you are in your life. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It doesn't matter what you read just before it or what you're going to read just after it. Great stories are great stories, and that's what I'm bringing for you today. Bit of a disclaimer, I intentionally tried to avoid things that we've talked about recently. We just did a top 5 Batman and a top 5 Superman stories. And both of those have great examples in them that you could check out. But these are the books that I most wanted to go back and reread after Superman, Batman, Dawn of Justice. So many words in a movie title. First up is Jeff Johns' Justice League Volume 1 Origin. And I'm saying Volume 1 because it's sort of the self-contained story of the team getting together. Ostensibly what we should have gotten in Batman vs. Superman. But really, the whole run is amazing. Jeff Johns, the first arc is Jim Lee art, but the artist has changed a bit throughout. All of the artists are A-list, though, so it's no worries there. This gives us first appearances in the New 52 of the core Justice League: Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, all of them meeting together to fight a big bad, which in this case is Darkseid, which either directly or indirectly was certainly teased in the Batman v Superman movie. And it's awesome. The characters, they don't waste any time on exposition. They assume that you have a vague idea who Superman, Batman, Green Lantern are. And pretty much every character in here has had a TV show or a movie, so you should know who they are. And it's epic. It's awesome. It has great character moments, excellent dialogue, cool fight scenes, pretty art. It is everything that an introductory Justice League story should be. Anyone can pick this up and appreciate it. Next up on the list is the opposite of that. It is the Nega Justice League Volume 1. This is maybe my favorite anthology graphic novel of all time. This is Tales of the Brave and the Bold, Team-Ups of Brave and the Bold by J. Michael Straczynski with a laundry list of different artists. Brave and the Bold has classically been a team-up book at DC for years. It's been published off and on since, I believe, the 70s. Oh, no, the 60s, because the first Teen Titans was in Brave and the Bold. And this is Straczynski's run. Each story in it is self-contained. So in this trade, we get, I think, 6 or 8 stories. And a lot of them are great pairings that we almost never see. We get 2 Batman stories out of this. One where he's teamed up with Brother Power the Geek, who, God bless him, there must be something about Brother Power the Geek, a really goofy 70s throwback character that not one but 2 great writers have brought back. Gaiman brought him back in Sandman. Straczynski brings him back here. We get a Batman team with Dial H for Hero. We get Aquaman and Etrigan the Demon, which is super great. But we also get maybe some of the best DC stories ever told. I would argue that the Barry Allen Flash story in this anthology, and it is a team up, but it involves time travel. He teams up with, I think, the Blackhawks, somebody in World War II, some World War II era DC characters, and it is maybe my best single issue Flash story. It epitomizes what it means to be the Flash. It also contains probably the most heartbreaking story I have ever read in the DC universe, which is Girls' Night, which is about Zatanna has a magical vision of the future, where she sees Barbara Gordon getting shot by the Joker. And Zatanna, being someone who's experienced with the way of magic and prognostication, knows that anything she does to try and change this will not change it, it'll only make it worse. And so it's about what she and Wonder Woman and Batgirl do when they know something horrible is going to happen and they can't change it. And it's epic. It's great. We also get an awesome Atom Joker story. Yeah, that would be the Ray Palmer Atom and the Joker. It's not really a team-up, but they're both central figures. And it's great. And we get a heart-wrenching, just heartstring-tugging Green Lantern Dr. Fate story. And this is part of the reason I said that this is not entry-level stuff. This requires a sort of affection for and maybe a moderate understanding of the DC universe. The Batgirl story doesn't mean a lot if you don't know what happens in The Killing Joke. The Green Lantern Dr. Fate story doesn't matter if you don't know what happens to Kent Nelson's Dr. Fate ultimately. But it is everything that is good in comics. Brave and the Bold team-ups is just amazing, and you absolutely should check it out. It's available in one trade. It's $17.99, and I will go on record as saying there is no better use of $17.99 in the comic world than buying this trade. Take that, DC. No, yeah, I can't think of anything else. There's literally nothing to fight it with. But Josh, you're saying these are kind of light stories. They're not light stories, by the way. Some of those are pretty dark in Brave and the Bold. But these are up stories. I want something with the scope and the depth and the pathos of Batman v Superman. Well, you're everything that's wrong with the world, and you're why we get movies like Batman v Superman. But that's okay. I can help you too. I can help everyone. Your best bet is Batman and Robin. This is volume 6 from the New 52 stuff. Now, Batman and Robin's great for the whole run. Check the whole thing out. But if you want something that shows sort of some of what we might or could have seen in a perfect world in Batman v Superman, this is the story of after Robin, Damian Wayne, Batman's son, is dead, is killed. This is the story of the lengths Batman will go to bring him back. Pretty much the whole Bat family cameos, a bunch of weird DC characters, Frankenstein, Aquaman, not that Aquaman's weird, but you know, he kind of is, he talks to fish. As well as most of the Justice League. I don't think Superman makes an on-screen appearance. He is in some flashbacky stuff, and he shows up after the action's over. But, you know, Shazam, Flash, Green Lantern, the whole jam. It involves trips to Apocalypse and just really epic. What happens when something so dark happens to Batman that he goes deep into the darkness, whether or not he can bring himself back, what he's willing to do in those situations. And this is the kind of thing, this is the character motivation that was missing from the heart of Batman v Superman. Yes, bad things happen and drive people, but you never understand why they take any of their actions, and some of their actions are directly inconsistent with other actions. So it's great to see a well-written, well-thought-out, this is written by Peter Tomasi, art by Patrick Gleason, a little bit of art by Andy Kubert, and it is great. It is a driven Batman going to the edge. So if you want a heavy Batman story, that is where I would go. Next up is Batman Earth 1, Volume 1. This is written by Jeff Johns, art by Gary Frank. There are actually 2 volumes out. I'm sure there will be a 3rd volume forthcoming. And this is sort of an alternate universe retelling of the origin of Bruce Wayne. Thomas Wayne is a politician running for office, and he contacts his old friend Alfred, who's a former SAS, British Special Forces, to come and run security for his campaign. Alfred's first night, Mr. Wayne tells him that he's given him full control over his assets and basically left Bruce's care in his stead. Which is kind of a heavy burden to lay on a friend the first time they show up to help you out. And of course, that's also the night that Bruce Wayne's parents get killed. So we get a Bruce Wayne that's very different. We get an Alfred that is much more militaristic, he's much more qualified. I love Alfred in the comics, but his background is like butlering and stagecraft, and I'm not sure how he's qualified to sew Bruce up all the time. But this one gives you a more logical thing. This has great portrayals. I think this is maybe the best Elseworlds of the Earth 1 stuff, because Johns turns everything just enough to give you a different angle on it, but not enough to change the core of who the characters are. I love his portrayal of Harvey Bullock in here. It's just great. It's an example of how you can tell a Batman story without telling exactly the same story we have in the normal comics and still make it great. And last up on my list, which last actually means first in this case. This is, if someone watched Batman v Superman and was like, oh, Batman and Superman fought, that was awesome, I want more, this is where I would send them. If someone watched that and said, oh, Batman v Superman was kind of rough and not great, I wish it was better, this is still where I would send them. This is Injustice, Gods Among Us. Specifically, I have the complete collection of Year 1. So this is the first 12 issues of the series, written by Tom Taylor. We've got art by a couple different people, Jeremy Rapak, Mark S. Miller, and, wait, isn't Miller a writer? No, yeah, he's an artist. There's lots of Mark Millers in the world. This is the story of Batman versus Superman, Batman and Superman fighting for the best reason. There have been a lot of fights over the years. Usually one of them is mind-controlled or manipulated or out-and-out wrong. This is an example of creating an organic conflict where Superman legitimately has a reason to be enraged to the point where he makes some poor choices. And of course, when Superman goes out of line, Batman is the only one qualified to bring him back into step. And it is great. It's an epic tale that encompasses the entire DC universe. It has one of my favorite Alfred moments of all time in it, and it does not necessarily go the way you expect. It is truly great for people who know nothing about DC Comics. It's great for people who know everything about DC Comics. It is the Superman-Batman story that you should read. It's the one you deserve. And I wish it was the one we had gotten. So that's it. That's my 5 things to check out after Batman v Superman. I hope you like them. Go to the movie, see if am I totally wrong? Was my estimation way off? Have you read some of these and think I'm way wrong about those too? Maybe those aren't great comics. I don't know. I'm not an expert. Oh no, I am an expert, but I'm not infallible. So if you disagree with me or if you agree with me, whatever, let me know in the comments below. And hopefully next week we will have Mark back to bring you more regular Alter Ego Comics TV. And Godspeed.